We're recording now, Greg.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order this regular December meeting of the Peabody Public Library Board of Trustees. I will note that there is a quorum present and ask the membership if anyone has had an opportunity to review the minutes of the November 11th meeting and would be willing to make a motion regarding the same.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Nikki has moved to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Is there a second?
Chris is second.
Chris seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor of approving the November 11, 2020 minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are passed. We'll then go to reports from the director and the library department heads.
So, first of all, I didn't know if you noticed they did sign the reports,
Yes.
so that,
Yes,
You know,
thank you,
some-
and I did, and I was like, oh, okay, and that helps me understand better who's doing things, and it makes sense if they're doing them in first person, so that's fine, thank you.
not a problem. Okay, so we're still on a hold with the building renovation updates. They came through and looked at a few things, and I'm still waiting to hear back. We will probably have to encumber the building renovation projects so that we can pay out of rainy day if it doesn't get completed before 2021. So just FYI, that is on our radar. We did get the comments and the compliment, and Nikki, did you see where somebody complained about the fine? So I just had to share that with you. So we'll keep it on our radar. We have to do the election of officers, and with that, I'm going to turn it over. Do you want to do it now, or do I have it on?
No, let's go ahead and do it now. I
Okay.
don't think you put these items in a separate agenda item, so I marked them throughout your report, so what we.
Well, I do have it separate, but we can go ahead and do it right now.
Okay, if you don't
Okay,
mind.
yeah, I'm fine with that.
What happened, I should have appointed a nominating committee probably at the October meeting to have a slate of candidates presented at the November meeting for consideration today. I didn't do any of that stuff. It shows what a very bad presiding officer I am, so I'm just letting you know.
Mary should have reminded him.
But we do need to elect new officers. Now, I will note that both Chris and I, if you want us to serve in our current positions again, we said we would be willing to do so. Our feelings will not be hurt if you don't want us to do that, or you want somebody else to do that. Beth has asked to be considered for the secretary position. Mike is going off the board next year, and so is probably not the best position to serve his position again. So we at very least would need somebody willing to serve as vice president, and I think that we are down to the choices of one of the two, of Lori, Nikki, or Carmen, I think. And we're basically at those positions. The vice president, as long as the president is healthy and showing up, doesn't have a whole lot to do. But that's where we are, and I guess I would be willing to either open nominations for each of the offices, or if somebody would like to propose a slate of candidates and nominate them, we will open the floor for that kind of discussion as well.
I would like to nominate a slate of officers
Please.
with Greg Hockmeyer as president, Vicki Baker as vice president, Chris Bechtold as treasurer, and Beth Bloom as secretary.
Vicki, would you accept the nomination as vice president?
Sure.
Okay, and we have all the other folks that have consented to that. Are there any other nominations?
I will second.
Okay, there's a second to the, I'm sorry, there's a second, and we will close the floor to nominations if there are no others, and I will ask to have that motion converted to a motion to elect the slate of candidates by acclamation, by unanimous consent. Is there, doing so. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that was not as hard as we thought it was going to be.
No,
Great. There
that's
we
pretty
have our
easy.
new officers. I will be, again, formally presiding over the meetings as president. Nikki will be there if somebody, if you want somebody who really wants to run it well. And then Chris will be treasurer again, and we will have Beth serving as secretary. Then we'll go back to Mary.
Okay. So the next thing that we need to do is the Peabody Public Library Policy Manual. You should have gotten a piece of paper that actually lists all the things that we need to consider for this year. Any of the items that we actually made a change to, you have a copy of that. So the first thing on here would be, no, I'm reading it like Reagan, or like Chris has it, that's easier. Okay, so the first thing, under health and safety, which is page 12, I put a statement in that during a pandemic, masks will be required for all customers wanting entry into the library. The mask must be worn at all times while in the building. Then on page 14, I actually added to the patron code of conduct, and the statement is masks are required to be worn inside the library at all times during a pandemic. Good so far? Yes.
Well, my only question is, we have this problem with students, and to work properly, worn properly at all times?
Do you want me to state the mask must be over the nose and mouth?
I see a lot of them.
I thought the same thing, and then you and I
Okay.
just discussed that, and I think that's a good idea.
Okay. So I'll put in here that, I'll make the notation to make sure I clarify that it's over the nose and
Thank
mouth. No problem.
Please continue, Mary.
So then on page 17, under public health emergencies, I added the language that you can see there. Do you want me to read it? Are you okay? Okay.
I was okay with it. Anybody else?
Okay. Then if you look at the paragraph following, it does say in the second sentence, I added a phrase, urge the use of masks and gloves while following social distancing guidelines.
I think that makes sense.
Okay. And then the next page, page 36, I actually only had to change under youth services computer policy, because we've made so many changes in the manual that the page number actually changed where you refer. So that is page 33. And that is it. And I do need your approval for the modifications to the policy manual.
Entertain a motion to approve the changes as proposed and then verbally amended today. That verbal amendment was that masks be worn covering the nose and mouth. Is someone comfortable?
I would so move.
It's been so moved. Is there a
Mike.
second? Mike,
Second by Chris.
Chris seconded. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the changes as proposed and amended in today's meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The changes are approved.
Thank you.
And that takes us down to the salary
To the
stuff,
salary
which also needs
schedule.
our input.
Correct.
It was my understanding we're basically, there's no law that requires an increase, but what we were toying with was either a 2% or a 4% increase, and it's my understanding you're recommending the 4% increase as almost like battle pay.
Correct.
Okay.
And the other issue is our starting wage is $10, and we're becoming more and more non-competitive with local area businesses. And then we do have to consider that most likely the Biden administration will want to have a $15 minimum, which will go into effect 2024. So we have to make adjustments for that too.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get ahead of the game a bit, but I also really feel like it's been a super tough year. if any, because we're down to 16 people, for example, this week, we had somebody that had a death in the family, and we had someone have a family emergency, and we have to plug holes. And the staff have been wonderful about filling in for each other with minimum to zero complaints, because they know that it could be them the next time that needs to have help. So I really, really would like to be able to pay increase.
That makes sense. We don't have a motion on the floor. Is there discussion or?
What was the difference between the increase from 2% to?
She has a.
4%?
Yeah, on the two documents you
On the
have,
two,
so,
okay.
yeah, you should have the total amount for each, and I believe there's a $10,000 difference between,
Yeah.
It hasn't been terribly, I would make a motion that we go to the 4%.
Okay, it has been moved that we go ahead and authorize a 4% increase across the board.
That was mine.
For 2020, that was Mike. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Nikki seconds that. Further discussion? Treasurer, you want to look at those numbers some more?
No, I looked over them before, I just forgot that they were on the back. Thank you. So I was like, wait a minute, I saw them somewhere. Nope.
Okay. With no more discussion, I will call for a vote. All in favor of the 4% increase across the board for next year, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously passes, 4%.
thank you very much, I appreciate that.
It's tough to compete.
It is tough to compete, no matter.
Yeah.
You're right. I didn't realize that we were starting at 10.
The other thing I need to let you know is the overlook and the boardwalk are gone.
Yeah.
So they're going to do the work on the yard to bring in dirt and seed next year, so in 2021. I did want to let you know that it did cost more than we thought. He bid, I think, bid at 2,000 something. It did come in at 6,000. However, it did take them longer, and the boardwalk is longer than you think. So I was fine with it, and I'm just letting you know. So, do you have any questions of me? Concerns?
No, the 6,000 was still quite a bit less than the other bid, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. They clearly have plenty of access to be able to know how long the boardwalk was.
Well, they didn't have to bid on that part, though, remember? They just bid on the overlook. The
Oh.
boardwalk was an additional.
Okay, that was the.
They had asked about
And
it.
they did,
Yeah,
okay.
and I asked them, yeah, because it was
Okay.
all at the road leading to nowhere.
All right.
So,
Any other questions? All right, Mary?
alrighty,
it?
there are a few things I need to just make you aware of. In 2021, we're gonna have to replace the fire alarm control panel. That's gonna be about $5,300. We did just recently go through an Evergreen, Indiana upgrade, which did not, it was supposed to be 4 days, it took 6 days, and the staff did a great job working through all the difficulties. But that's done. Again, the staff has been fantastic about filling in for each other. And we are also changing our IT vendor. We're going to go from Chester to Edge IT as our IT vendor. I wanted you to be aware of that. We're a part of the Nickel consortium, and it was a consortium, idea, or they wanted to move, and we were fine with it. So there's some major changes coming down the pike, but I think it'll be for the better of the library. So, and that is all I have.
Okay. I think, let's see here. What do we have left? Oh,
I think we did most of the
claims.
And before I forget, Chris, I need to remind you to see Linda, because you have to sign the bond documents, and Linda needs to notarize it.
Okay.
Okay?
And does that need to be done before January?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
All right, so I'll ask everybody to look over the claims register and payroll and see if you have any questions or concerns. And
Greg,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, you guys need to sign off on this. I think you approved it, but I didn't have to sign. And that's for the pay increase.
the compensation, is that the compensation plan? Yeah. compensation plan that we just approved coming around and decide. Someone feel comfortable moving to approve the, oh, I'm sorry, you're still looking at it.
Oh, I didn't notice it.
What did we need here to do?
Is that Friend Irrigation?
Yeah.
They always come in and clear out the water lines. So we have the
Oh,
water
okay.
lines outside that actually water the beds around the building.
May I take out the 2% one?
Sure.
Is it where it goes into the?
Right.
That's a good idea.
Should
You
have
actually
done
read
that.
stuff before you sign it? Jeez.
John Meyer always told me. Read it and then sign it so they can't read it.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
Mike
Makes
moves
that
to approve
motion.
the claims payroll
Yeah.
as presented. Is there a second?
Lori will second.
Lori will second. Is there any discussion? No? Nikki? Nothing? Okay. Hearing no,
You have this on my PSO test.
oh, you had
Oh,
two
I'm sorry.
places to sign. Hearing no discussion, we will vote. All in favor of approving claims and payroll as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any other business?
Thank you.
Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is that Lori?
That's Lori.
Lori moves. Is there a second?
Second by Chris.
Second by Chris. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Stand adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that was quick.
That's the record.
Now, don't leave yet, please.
That's
That's not right.
18 minutes.